What's up, everybody? Will here. Today, do something kind of going really back to basics. I'm gonna describe the three types of fishing rods or reels that are most common, and then I'm gonna show how to cast them. So this is pretty basic. So if you're a new fisherman and you're wanting to learn, this is probably something you need to pay attention to, because there are three basic types of reels. There are some others that are you find across the way that they're not as common, but the three most common types of reel are spin cast, spinning, and casting or bait casting. So today we're going to talk about all three of them, and I'm going to show you what they look like, show you the differences between them, and how to use them. I'm going to start with the spin cast reel. This is probably the easiest reel to use. This reel here, you just push the button and you let it go when you're ready to cast, and if you push it again, it'll break. It has a break on it, and then you click it and reel. You don't got to do anything. You just push the button and reel. All right. This is used a lot for like kids. Kids fishing use these, because they're pretty simple. They're pretty indestructible. You can beat on them pretty well. You can drop them in the water. I mean, salt water, they'll survive, but they'll rinse them off if you drop them in the salt water, just like anything else you drop in the salt water. But these are good little reels to start with. They're an inexpensive reel. There's guys that swear by these closed face reels, these spin casters. So a lot of catfish guys where I'm from, they love the Zebco 303s or 202s or one of those Zebco's closed faces, but they swear by them. The little drag system's right here on the front, so if you want more drag, you spin it towards the plus. If you want less drag, you spin it towards the negative. But somewhere in between is usually where you want it. These don't have a real fast reel retrieve, so they're not a real fast reel, but they're perfect for little kids. So that's a spin cast reel. It's pretty much your basic reel, and you just push the button and let it go whenever you're ready to cast. I'll do a little demonstration here. And it just casts out. You just reel it back in, click and reel. Pretty simple. Great for little kids. Alright. The next reel we're going to talk about here is the spinning reel. Alright, this is probably your most common reel inshore fishing. It's probably the reel I use the most. I have the most of these reels. It's what I use for my charters. They're fairly simple to use, and they hold more line than the spin casters and some of the bait casters. They come in all sizes. They start pretty small, like a 1000 or even like a 500 series for like crappie. They're pretty small, all the way up to like a 18,000 for like marlin. So you can get them in all sizes, and I choose like a 2500 or a 3000 for inshore. I'm going to go over the basic parts of the reel here because I'm going to explain to you how to use it. This is your rod blank. This is your reel seat. This is your roller bearing. This is your line. This is your bail. This is your handle. And this is your drag right here. There's a knob on the top of these reels, and that's your drag. Some of these reels have the drag on the bottom. Most of them have them on the top, though, but if it's not on the top, it's probably down here on the bottom. And these reels also you can switch the sides, so your handle will comes off pretty easy. Your handle comes off, and you can put it on the other side if you like to reel with your other hand. One thing that people do often is they'll get this reel and they want to reel with their right hand, so they'll flip the reel over and start reeling with their right hand. That's incorrect, and you'll end up getting tangled up. And if you hook into a fish with the rod that's designed to be like this, but it's like this, it's being bent backwards, and it's not good on the rod, and you could snap a rod. So you want to hold the reel with the reel down, and you want to reel. I prefer to reel with my left hand, but if you prefer to reel with your right hand, you just do it like this instead. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your line, and you want your line coming off your roller bearing to be lined up with your rod blank. You want to hold the reel. I hold it between my pinky and my ring finger, and right there at the reel seat, and then I can grab the line with my index finger like this. So what you'll do is line up your roller bearing with your rod blank, get the line to where it's its closest point, so you can grab it with your finger, flip the bail, and then whenever you cast, you'll just take your rod and cast, and that'll release the line. You just reel it back in. To adjust the drag on a spinning reel, like I said, you just spin this clockwise, will tighten it, and counterclockwise will loosen it. So you don't want it too tight, you don't want it too loose. You don't want unless you're trolling or something, you need the tension got. So if I'm trolling, I'll back it all the way off, and then if the fish grabs it, that's what I hear, so it comes off real easy. But usually I like to have it, if I'm fishing, I like to have it at, somewhere around 6 pounds to where I can grab it and pull it off, fairly easy, but not too hard. Because this is what's going to control a big fish. A big fish gets on there, the drag engages, and it slows the fish down. It makes him work harder to get where he's going, so it wears him out faster. And it doesn't pull the line off your reel as fast. So you want to control the line coming off the reel if you can, because obviously you need line to bring the fish back in. So if they spool you, we got spooled the other day and it took all the line off the reel, every bit of it, down in the knot, and popped the knot, and off it went. So yeah, that's how you operate the drag, and that's the spinning reel. And now we'll go talk about the casting reel here. This is probably the most common reel in bass fishing, and it's becoming more and more popular in inshore saltwater fishing as saltwater casting reels are being introduced to the market. This particular one's the Daiwa Coastal. It's the TWS 7.3. Now all reels, I don't know if you can see it here, all reels, including the other two we've already talked about, will have a gear ratio. Some port is 7, this is 7.3. That means it's gonna bring in the spool will spin 7.3 times to one rotation of the handle. So that's your gear ratio of this reel. That's not a real fast reel. Some are 10 to 1. This is kind of a medium fast reel, but it's the speed I like. So you can adjust, you can buy a reel depending on your fishing. If you're fishing fast, you want a faster reel. If you're wanting to fish real slow, you want a slower reel. So retrieval speed is kind of important, because you want your retrieval speed to be faster than the fish can swim if possible, because if they may swim right at you, and you want to be able to pick up the line as quick as you can. So a slower reel, I prefer like a 7.1 to about an 8.4. That's what I like. Anything faster than that I'm not used to, and I end up burning through the water with my jig, not meaning to, reeling it too fast. Anyway, the casting reel, they'll have, this is basically cast the same way. It's got a push button here. You push the button and that releases the spool. Right? And you'll have a spool tensioner here, and some models will have a magnet over here. And the spool tensioner will be on all these reels, and that controls the tension on the spool here. And then this magnet here comes in from the other side, and it's like micro controls. You can really fine tune it. And then on this reel, the drag is right here on the handle, and you just spin that backwards or forwards. And sometimes if you're fishing something like a worm or maybe flounder fishing, you're just picking up line real slow, you can kind of flip the reel with your finger here. See if I can do it here. Get some line out, kind of flip the reel with your finger here. Kind of do that, just picking up line. I do that sometimes as I'm fishing. But this is important to have it set right. If you don't have this reel set right, it'll backlash, meaning the line will come off the spool faster than the spool spins, and or I'm sorry, I said that backwards. The spool spins faster than the line comes off the reel, and so it creates a bird's nest in here, and it can be a real pain in the butt. And people don't use this reel because of that reason, because it backlashes so easily. But if you have it set correctly, it won't. This one's set correctly. You want the jig to just slowly fall. You don't want it to fall fast. That's about the rate you want it to fall. Pretty slow. And then if you have it set right, these reels are they're real easy to use. You can cast them out right before it hits the water. You can just put your finger on the line and start reeling. Now these reels will come in a right and left hand model. I reel with my right hand. Technically, I think I do it wrong, but it's the way I've done it my whole life, so it's the way I do it. But I switch hands with it. I'll cast out with this hand and then put it in this hand and reel. Technically, they say that's wrong. You're not supposed to switch hands, but that's the way I grew up doing it, and that's the way I'm going to do it till the day I die, and you can't tell me otherwise. So these come in a right and left hand retrieve though. So this is a right hand retrieve because the handle's on the right. They make them with the handle on the left. So whenever you go purchase one, make sure you know which hand you want to reel with before you buy it. It'll say RH or LH, and this one's obviously a RH, right hand. But you hold them like this with the rod. You know, casting rods will have a spur on them right here for your finger. Spinning rods do not have a spur because your hand wraps around it like this. So you want to make sure that you got a casting rod for a casting reel and a spinning rod for a spinning reel. Another easy way to tell if it's a casting rod or a spinning rod is this first eye right here. This first eye is small on a casting rod and big on a spinning rod. So every spinning rod has a big first eye and every casting rod has a smaller first eye. So that's another way you can tell the rods. But you want to make sure you put a casting reel on a casting rod and a spinning reel on a spinning rod, or else you will be uncomfortable. I tried it once whenever I was a kid. Didn't work very well. Tried cutting that off with a hacksaw. That made it just even more uncomfortable. So get the right rod for the reel. But you know, that's your three basic types, and they're one of those three is probably what you'll see in just about every bait shop, every place in the country that sells reels. And just depending on your experience level and you know what you're trying to accomplish fishing, depending on what reel you get. If you got taking a bunch of kids fishing, or you're a kid and you're wanting to fish, start off with a spin cast reel and just get the motion down, and then upgrade to the spinning reel, and then whenever you're ready for it, upgrade to a casting reel. My father fished his whole life. He never could cast a casting reel. There's nothing wrong with that. If you don't like a casting reel, you don't like a casting reel. Don't feel forced to use it. Don't feel embarrassed if you show up to a tournament and you're the only person throwing a spinning rod, because hey, the rod don't make the fisherman. They make the fisherman's life a little bit easier, but if you're a good fisherman, you can catch a good fish on any of these setups. So you know, kids like these style, and then it goes on up from there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you out there.